Hey, how's it going out there? This is Antonio. We're going to talk about Anthony Joshua. It's been a while now. It's been about a week, in which case we've digested everything. And there's been a lot of speculation on what went wrong, and he got hit behind the ear, and yada yada yada. His cardio, those things are a factor, but I think a lot, or maybe the more harming factors, are psychological. And what do I mean by psychological? Well, let's just start with the fact, let's go all the way back to the weigh-in. Anthony Joshua allows his opponent to hold his titles. Now, I've never, in the history of my watching combat sports, have seen a champion allow a contender to hold his titles. It's always a sense of pride and this is mine and you're not taking it. Not a sense of I currently have this and you could quite possibly be walking away with it. That would be the reason why you would allow him to take pictures with it. So I find that extremely weird. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who found that weird. What does that do for somebody when you're a contender and you're allowed to hold the titles? Okay, so it's a strong analogy, but I do think the greatest analogy. Imagine a slave owner and imagine just being a slave. And the owner says, well, hey, these are your freedom papers. I'm going to let you hold your freedom papers. Well, until that moment, freedom has been a concept. It's not like a real thing. It's a concept. He doesn't know what freedom looks like. He doesn't know what it feels like. But if he's allowed to hold the freedom papers, he not only knows what it looks like, he knows what it feels like. He knows what the parchment feels like. He knows what color the parchment is. He knows how large the document is, whatever the case may be. He knows now. So now it's no longer a dream. It's maybe I can do this. It's maybe I can do this. Now, let's think about it like this. Anthony Joshua, you're fighting this man. He's a contender. You're the champ. The last thing you want the contender to do is actually feel your title. Because now he's going to say, I remember what that feeling felt like when I held the titles and I took the pictures with the titles and, when it was around my waist. And now you don't have it anymore. It's like, no, I want that feeling back. I want my kids to see me with these belts around my waist. Look what daddy did. Look what he accomplished. I want my wife to see me with this belt around my waist. Look, I always told you I was going to make something out of myself through this boxing thing, and I did so. So you don't want that. And I think Anthony Joshua hurt himself even probably the most by allowing this man just to sit up and hold his titles. Now let's get to the fight. People are talking about, oh, he's out of shape and he looks like, a Greek god. Okay, yeah, he does look like a Greek god. But, so you can't, but they're saying it in a sense of saying, well, this must be a fluke, because guys who look like that don't beat up guys who look like that. I don't know what world you live in. This is combat sports, period. This is combat sports. This ain't basketball. This ain't football. This ain't baseball. This is combat sports. Anything can happen. And for you to think just because an individual doesn't look like he should win, you're bugging. There's no other way to put that. You have clearly lost your mind. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't anything like that. Honestly, when I'm looking at this, I'm seeing Jared Hurd and J. Rock Williams all over again. You just think he's supposed to win. because he's never lost, and because he's bigger. And if that's your reasoning, I don't think you understand boxing. This is skill. This is all about skill. Um, in which case, Ruiz showed skill. Ruiz dictated that fight. He dictated the pace of the fight. He dictated where they were going to fight. And he made Joshua do things he didn't want to do. Joshua was trying to go this way. Ruiz is like, no, I want you going this way. Joshua was like, oh, I'm going to lead by the jab. Ruiz is like, you can lead by the jab all you want, but just know, after you jab, I'm going to return fire with 3 to 4 shots. So you can lead by the jab all you want. As a matter of fact, I welcome you leading by the jab. So I can follow up with these counter shots. And that's exactly what he did. And it was also the smaller Ruiz who was headhunting Joshua. It wasn't the other way around. Like, he's literally stalking him. Joshua is what, 6'5", 6'6", something like that. I mean, and you look at the stature of the two of them, and you shouldn't have this little man stalking you. And he's literally stalking him. I do feel like cardio was a problem as well. But you know, I think it was a lack of confidence, quite frankly. It was just like every time he did something, whatever he did, he got about 3-4 shots back. I'm not saying they were clean shots, but Ruiz was giving him something back. He was definitely giving Joshua something to think about. And I'm pretty sure we can all see he didn't like what he was thinking about when he was getting them shots back. He was getting return fire, and the return fire was heavy and it was fast. And I think it shocked him. I think a lot of things shocked about Joshua. I think number one, it shocked him just how fast this little guy who doesn't have the greatest physique, how fast he is. I think it shocked him that this little guy was so ferocious. I think it shocked him that this little guy was walking him down. I think it shocked him that this little guy had such an IQ. I think a lot of things shocked Joshua. And I just don't think he knew what to do. But again, talking about the psychology, I also think that his corner didn't know what to do. Like, they're giving him like amateur like instructions, jab right hand, duh, but what else? Tie up, go back to that jab. Like, what about going to the body? Why is Ruiz going to the body on you? You should be going to the body on him. Clearly, he's soft in the body, and I'm not here to bash his physique like everybody else has been doing or anything like that. But he is soft in the body, in which case you take advantage of him being soft in the body. You take any advantage you have. I mean, that's common sense. And I think that's day one stuff in a ring. I don't think that's something that you morph into over time. I think it's day one stuff. Why Joshua didn't take advantage of it, I have no idea. It could have been his height. Maybe he was just too big. And also, what I believe was just the speed and the power of Ruiz. This dude wasn't coming to back down. This dude certainly wasn't coming to lay down. This dude was coming to fight. And he had already felt what those titles felt like because, Joshua, Joshua allowed him to hold him. So he knew what they felt like. It's one thing to know what something, to see something, and something else to know what it feels like. And he knew what they felt like, and he was going for it. I'd probably say from round one, it wasn't like I'm coming just to be a contender or I'm coming just to collect a check. It was like, I'm coming to collect a check. I'm coming to change my family's life. I'm coming to get those belts. That's what it was, and he showed it. He showed it. You know, and I do think there was something that Paulie Malignaggi he hit on when it comes to Ruiz. I think just his calm demeanor outside of the ring made Joshua a little more at ease too. Because he is a nice guy. He's just a nice, laid back, calm individual. And I think when you're presenting yourself as this calm, laid back, calm individual, there's nothing alarming about that, and there's nothing defensive about that on the other guy's end. It's just like, okay, he's defensive, like he's defensive. Okay, he's a cool guy. He's a nice guy. You know, I remember when Floyd Mayweather and Miguel Cotto, they had their face off with Max Kellerman, and Floyd wasn't dumb. Floyd is not stupid. And they said, Max asked Floyd about Cotto. He said, "What do you think of Cotto?" And Floyd said, "Don't let this fool you." He said, "He's quiet, but he's a silent killer." He goes, "A lot of killers are silent. They're quiet." He goes, "Just because he's quiet and he's silent and he's polite, I'm not going to be fooled by that. I know he's coming to kill me. I know he's coming to, destroy me." And I don't think Joshua thought the same way. I think Joshua thought, this guy's just coming to get his $5 million, and he'll ride off into the sunset. I'll make my big debut. Everything's going to play out the way it's supposed to play out. And it's going to be a beautiful night. I'm going to make my splash in the U.S., and that's going to be that. Wrong. He should have been looking at a silent killer. Floyd was like, he's a silent killer. The only difference between him and only difference between him and maybe somebody like a Shane Mosley is Shane Mosley said he was going to kill him. Cotto was just like, we'll see. In which case he's just verbally not saying what he's thinking and feeling in his heart. I'm coming to kill you. He just didn't say it. You had a guy like Conor McGregor who was like, I'm going to take your head off. And then you got a guy like Cotto who's like, we'll see what happens in the fight. Or you have a guy like, Manny Pacquiao who's like, oh, we'll see what happens in the fight. You think that makes them less killers? No. Ruiz is a killer. And he came in as a killer. I mean, his record didn't tell you anything. He's always been... he's always been overweight. What? Now it means something? No, he's always been overweight. That's not new. You know what I'm saying? And he's had a lot of experience. He's got a deep amateur background. So for you to sit there and say these things, you're out of your mind. You don't think he knows how to work with what he has now? You don't think he knows how to work with him being a bigger guy? He knows what he's working with, and he knows how to use it. And he's deceptively fast. Obviously, he's going to hit hard. I mean, once you exceed 200 pounds, wherever you hit, you're probably going to destroy it, because you're over 200 pounds. But he's fast. Like everything you just kind of